on time, let alone having to wait. Thanks.
Well, we wanted to thank everyone for coming, obviously, for Hugh Jackman to this amazing Moms in the City event.
Whatever you do, we'll do.
So we are thrilled now that the Dad in the City join us with some of you other dads in the room. And we thought we would just get it started by just starting with one question and then opening it up for you guys.
You guys got taught it.
So we can jump around here.
Slide that to the right.
So my son this morning I dropped off to school and he has a noisy boy in Adam in his hand.
Aww.
Backpack and he goes in the little ones that light up, which he loves.
Where is Noisy Boy?
Is Noisy Boy not?
No, he's
It's my son's got it.
No, they are selling off the
My
racks like
daughter
crazy.
is 6. She loves noise. I said, "Who's your favourite Adam?" She goes, yeah, but since she was little, I turn on the radio, and my wife likes to listen to kind of soft rock, and Ava would be crying, even before she could talk, and then as soon as you put on heavy metal, she would go,
Yeah! So this was made for her.
it's right in her zone.
So we thought we'd just get it started with just a real basic, we're all obviously moms and dads trying to juggle all of our schedules. So we just spoke to you a little bit about, but we always find it fascinating when there's working parents that are so involved in their children's lives and trying to find the best way to do it.
Well, both of us are actors, which is difficult. In fact, my son really doesn't want me to be an actor because he says, I don't know when you're going to be around. And even though actually I'm probably around more than most dads, most working dads, he doesn't know when it's going to be or how long they're going to find it. So my wife and I never work at the same time. That was a rule we have. We're never away from each other or the kids for more than 2 weeks. Never have been. And even that is hard, as you know. Although I'll be honest, 2 nights. Let's all be honest. I remember ringing my wife, and I was on a press tour, and I was staying in this fantastic hotel, and I rang her, she goes, "How's everything?" I said, "Okay, please don't take this the wrong way, but it's fantastic." I said, "What do you mean?" I said, she likes the curtains open, I like them closed, she has the TV on, I have it off. I said, "I'm just in bed, people are all going out to party, and I'm just lying in bed on my own." She said, "Trust me, I get it."
And then the dance party after.
And on the wall, we have a schedule, like a calendar for the week written up, so that everybody knows what is going on. We all know what each other's lives are, because as you know, the city can get crazy busy, And the other thing we learned, probably when my son was about 3, was to allow a half hour extra than what we think. And if you have that luxury of time, it changes your life. And all of a sudden the city becomes phenomenal and not this beast, this enemy. Sometimes the city can feel a bit like I got a kid, but when you have time and you're not rushed, it's phenomenal.
So who's got a question for Mr. Jackman?
You were first, yes. Journalist.
Why don't you guys announce yourself before you
So, my name is Linda Grant. My site is nycsinglemom.com.
Right.
I am a single mom who adopted on their own. So, I'm at 11 days old. So, I know that your kids are adopted.
They are,
so
yes.
When she was younger, it's not a big, kids were like, "Oh, you're adopted, that's so cool." But now it's like, you're adopted. And they're a little bit meaner than they used to be. So, I'm curious if your kids have experienced that, or if you had any advice?
No, I mean, we talked a lot. We always were open from the beginning with both our kids about it. In fact, there's been a couple of times where I've heard my kids say, I'm adopted, like, hey, I'm special here, so, but I think the school, we talk a lot to the teachers, we talk to the headmistress. The school that my daughter's at, Little Red Schoolhouse, is very progressive, and they are really active in talking with teachers, because what you don't realise, it's so easy in every class they say, "Oh, they're having family day, let's talk about our families," and blah, 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 and a lot of adopted kids can all of a sudden start to feel different, for the first time start to feel they're not included. And so I think sometimes being proactive with teachers and just say, "Look, if there's any way, I'd love to know what you're teaching in social studies or history or family. Is there a way we can bring this up in a positive framework?" And the idea that there are families made up in many different ways.
Well, that's why I live in New York.
Single parents, gay parents, there's so many different things, and that's all to be celebrated and not to be seen.
That's great that you're being proactive.
Yeah, I think you need to be, and some schools are more on it than others. So.
I'm Mitch. gaynycdad.com.
Hey, Mitch.
My son also adopted by birth, in class with her daughter, and doesn't talk about it at all ever, because he's a boy and doesn't notice anything as far as adoption.
Right.
But I wanted to ask, what's your favorite vacation spot with the kids in the Northern Hemisphere?
Yes, because I was going to say Byron Bay in Australia. Turks and Caicos. Really?
Sorry.
Together, you got all this put together? That's it. So I'm in the back of the taxi and I see you guys on the beach talking about issues of
You
parenting.
will always see us in the back of the taxi on the beach with yourself.
The Turks and Caicos for me is the ultimate kind of wind down, and it's the one area where I feel really safe to let my kids run. Like I can let them out of my sight, and I know that they're okay.
And direct flight.
I'm very close.
Direct flight, that's right. So we have to know how to direct
I
flight.
like the Atlantis myself.
I love Atlantis, but it's a problem for me.
Yeah.
Because-
So public. Who's
Yeah.
got a question? Question
Yeah.
about the movie?
I
can't raise
Oh.
my hand because I forgot my tripod, so put me in line.
Do you have a question about the movie?
No.
Yes?
Oh, actually, I have a comment about the movie.
Oh, good.
My son, who is 10, made me promise on his way out the door this morning that I would tell you that he really, really, really wants to see it. He wanted you to know that.
Well, I would tell. Well, no, I'm now going to get in trouble with you. I'd love it if he gets a chance to see it.
He
So,
will.
Yeah. And I can tell you, I think he's really going to love it. I've seen the movie with a lot of kids, particularly around that age, and it's so fascinating to me how kids just get so wrapped up in the story of these robots, particularly the robot of Adam and the relationship with the boy who's about the same age as your son and Adam. And then for parents and other people, they get really caught up in the father-son story. And,
Yes.
you know, there's a lot more things. I know my wife elbowed me during the movie. She goes, I thought it was a robot. Anyway, so I hope he enjoys it. What's his name?
Jake.
Jake. Have a good time, man. And for Jake, you know, this is for you.
Oh.
He'll like Adam, but they'll all like Zeus secretly. Even though he's kind of
Aw.
that's for you, Jake.
Thank you so
No
much.
problem.
Monica wants your
You
question.
know,
Yes,
can
my
I just
name's-
interject really quick on that note? When you choose the movies that you do, do you see your kids watching it when you pick your roles?
This is the first movie I've done that they've seen. So this is the first, apart from Happy Feet and Flushed Away animated movies. The other ones, I know other kids watch X-Men, but I feel it's weird for them to see their dad slicing people's heads off, you know. a little undermining when I'm trying to get them not to fight each other.
You're in New York, so you
But
see
there's
it
a-
everywhere.
Well, the one clip of me coming out of the tank going crazy, I occasionally show that to them to intimidate them. That's all.
Go to bed.
But this particular movie, and you should not blog this, but this was bad parenting, but you'll get a kick out of it. I got the script 3 days before I got a phone call from my agent, and normally you have like a week to read something, and you know what it's like, you need a week.
Yeah.
So about 3 days he said, oh, by the way, the director's in town tomorrow morning, so you've read the script, right? And I was like, we're finished. I started. He goes, well, you better read it tonight, mate, because you're going to talk to him tomorrow about it. I said, fine. So it was 8:30, 8 o'clock. It was always near the, as we call the Bed Bath and Beyond, right? You know, we were into the reading, and Oscar's right into Tintin. He says, Dad, can we read Tintin? I said, wow, you know, how about we read this really cool story about boxing robots? And he's like, what? And I said, I think you'll really like it, thinking, I don't want to be up all night. So he said, you can read 5 pages. I said, okay. So after about 5 pages, I looked up, and he always draws while I read. And after about 5 pages, I looked up, and he's like, go on, go on, go on. Go on, keep going. So I read a few more pages, he goes, keep going.
Yeah.
So he was probably up